What's going on, everyone? It's Ben from YGO from Zero, back with another Critter format video, and this time I've got a very special guest joining me today. It's Janjo from the Janjo Zone. So, Janjo, do you want to introduce yourself, talk about your channel a bit?
Hello, yes, I am Janjo from the Janjo Zone, Jesse from the Janjo Zone, whatever you want to call me, youtube.com/Janjo brand and or Patreon/slash Janjo. So if you haven't seen my channel, I do a lot of historical Yu-Gi-Oh content, a lot of educational videos for a variety of topics, from just set discussions to format breakdowns, OCG content, trivia, pretty much a variety of things. And more recently, been dueling a bit in a certain critter tournament.
Yeah. And this was the deck that you brought to that Critter tournament, right?
Yes, this is a mass negation deck. I may be the only one playing it.
Yeah, I have not featured this deck on my channel yet, I don't think. So I'm happy to have you on to talk about it.
Yeah, initially I was gonna run Exodia because it's clearly a good deck, but I had a dream to not run it. So I had a dream that I'm like, don't run it. It's too glassy. Cannon burn is superior. And as I was building Cannon burn, for whatever reason, it just kind of devolved into my normal playing jank decks, which is in this case mass negation, which is kind of an older played critter deck, but it's still. I mean, I wouldn't say it's trash or anything, but it's definitely a rogue pick going in.
Yeah. So what exactly did this deck intend to do? Like, what's its main game plan?
So, like the name suggests, a lot of negation. You want to negate maybe not everything that they play, but anything that could kind of give them advantage. A lot of people look at this deck and think, oh, you just have to get everything and then set everything. And that's not really the case. You kind of just want to set what you need or what you think you might need. Like if you're in a game state where you don't want to have a mirror force played against, you might want to set 7 tools. If you kind of feel like, all right, if a Raigeki or if they need cards with Pottery or something, maybe now is a good time to set Magic Jammer. Um, I noticed the weird thing is probably the one solemn. I think when you see most people talk about mass negation, it's like 3 Magic Jammers, 3 7 tools, 3 solemns, maybe a Horn of Heaven if they're
Yeah.
not quite experienced. But I think with solemn, I'm taking the idea behind it kind of like how it was played in some later formats, kind of more towards like the GX era, where you kind of don't necessarily want to use it. You want it as like a safety net if all else fails. Because typically you're playing at a relative speed, not too fast, not too slow. You can have enough resources to keep playing the game where you don't need to solemn. But if you absolutely have to, if you think it's worth a game shot, go for it. That's why I ran one. Upon testing the deck in the recent critter tournament, I would really the main things I would change more than anything. I'd probably cut the Faith and Mask down to one, add 2 Jirai Gumos, and then I would remove the one fissure,
Hmm.
and put a second Solemn. Those would be like the main changes. I know one fissure is kind of weird too, because everyone usually runs 3 fissures or like 3 Wabokus. I don't think this deck needs Waboku at all.
Oh, interesting.
I mean, if things get like destroyed, whatever. there's more things you kind of need to worry about. I did find a Fisher like nice if I had it, but I normally didn't even draw into it.
Hmm.
Um, Kind of same thing with card destruction too, but I'd rather have card destruction the times that I needed it than when I didn't, whether it is against Exodia or otherwise to draw my pieces. So like it can be good to slide into more destruction cards if I need to, like Tribute to the Doomed and stuff, especially since you're not setting everything, so you do tend to have more cards in your hand, which does make things like Thunder Dragon really good. It makes Magic Jammer usually live. And also Solemn kind of plays against Seven Tools as well. But I think having two is fair enough. Same thing with Jirai. I realized I didn't have enough offensive pressure in the deck without having cards like Fissure and Wabaku. So I tended to like always side in Jirai Gumo just so I can push damage and then protect when needed with the counter traps.
Yeah, I
And
think that
I
makes
did
sense.
end up going like 2 and 3. Although the last game, it was literally down to whoever drew a monster.
Oh
So
wow. So would you say more monsters in general, or is the general balance? Because I know that you said you'd side in more Jirai Gumos, but would you swap out some of the other monsters, or?
I would swap out Faith and a Mask. I like having them. I think they're nice to have if I need them, just because all your spells are power spells, and all your traps can be used to protect you more. I did have a game where I did like get where it was late game and I could get a bunch of Psalms back, which was always fantastic. But if you draw them early game, they can be kind of dead. Mass Sorcerer, I feel like I sometimes used, sometimes didn't. I wouldn't mind cutting him out for maybe like a Muka Muka
Yeah, Muka
or
Muka's a
something else.
yeah, especially with Thunder Dragons. Muka Muka can be pretty crazy.
Yeah, Cannon Soldier I've contemplated, but it's just when you have a card that can ensure you game in a variety of ways, it's kind of hard to cut out.
Yeah, it's really the sleeper hit of the format, I think. Just like starting out in the format, you think, okay, Can Soldier, I guess, is an okay card. And then you play a bunch of games and you're like, Can Soldier's like one of the best cards in the format.
Yeah, it's really nice. Like as well as with all the other cards. With like my side deck, yeah, Jirai I always sided into. Karibo I never sided into because I never found myself against Catapult Turtle, OTK. Maneater I would occasionally side into if they're playing a little bit more defensively, or if I just needed something to get rid of. Like it was nice if I drew into it. I think Hat I may have gone into once, maybe. I don't know if I ever used the second card destruction. If anything, either I keep the one in or I would just cut it out.
Yeah, I feel like this is especially good against Exodia, but if you didn't play many Exodia decks,
I
or
played against Exodia once and I never drew into card destruction. But
oh
there were other games where either I wish I had it because it was late game, I could have decked my opponent out using card destruction alone. Or there was a game where I used it and it helped me draw into Heavy Storm, which ensured me game. So I do like card destruction just for it. It has uses, even though it can be dead. And if it is dead, oh well, I'll just Magic Jammer it away, or just keep it in my hand and discard it if it comes to that. Fissure and Tribute to the Doomed, I would sometimes side into. Doomed is really nice because you don't have to worry about face down monsters. If you want to put in some pressure and you're worried about if it's like a stone or a bug or whatever, you can just get rid of it off the field. Where Fissure, it has to be face up. And then the Solemn, I sometimes side into 2 or 3, depending. Typically 2.
yeah, I think that makes sense. And honestly, I'm gonna take all this advice that you're giving about the deck and throw it together myself at some point and play out this deck because I think it's really cool. I think the idea is really awesome, and I feel like not enough people are playing things like Magic Jammer in decks that can take advantage of it, and
No.
it's such a powerful card.
Yeah, like I mentioned, I think the MVP of the deck was Thunder Dragon and Magic Jammer. Because Thunder Dragon just thins your deck out and lets you do a bunch with it, whether it's tribute over a critter, Change of Heart tribute set, get a monster that. The last game I did, I actually tributed a stone for Thunder Dragon so I could attack over my opponent's face down Thunder Dragon. And you can use it for Magic Jammer too. Like, and Magic Jammer just I was surprised like how nice it was to just stop Heavy Storm, Raigeki, Monster Reborn, Pot of Greed, all these super powerful spells that not many people think about. Like, oh, I can negate this pass of Solemn, but you can negate just by discarding a card you may not even need anyway at that time.
Yeah. And oftentimes, like, you can go, like, neutral on card advantage with it, I feel, right? Like, you're negating a Pot of
Hmm.
Greed with a Magic Jammer. Like, that's going pretty neutral because you're trading
Yeah,
1-for-1 cards and your opponent's not getting the +1 off the Pot of Greed. So,
it is annoying if they start setting a bunch of faiths.
yeah.
That's the only thing. And the best game state is having like a beater on field and then having three card set: Solemn, Seven Tools, and Magic Jammer.
Hmm. Just,
It's so nice because like okay, if I negate one card and try to stop it, I can probably negate it with a Seven Tools or a Solemn to
yeah,
stop
you're
their
prepared
Solemn.
for anything.
Yeah, like you can stop their Solemn and then they still lose half their life points.
Yeah, that is one of the,
Great.
I think, best application like Seven Tools, right? Just,
Hmm.
they're paying half their life points and you're just paying 1,000. So,
Yeah,
uh,
there's a lot of times you just kind of negate like if you have them early game, you may kind of want to like stop everything they have, but it all depends on the game state. It all depends on like what your hand is. Like it's all situational, but
yeah.
generally it's nice to just make them lose all their cards, and
Hmm.
I'm sure it frustrates them.
Oh, yeah. And speaking of the game state, we do have a replay from the tournament that you selected. That was a pretty good one, I believe.
Yes,
Yeah, I
I
haven't
thought this
actually
one
seen
was
it,
good.
so I'm going into this blind, but I'm excited to watch because this deck looks really sick. And
Yeah, I feel like with most of my games, I usually get better per game because I'm just testing out the deck in the tournaments. I don't know why I do that. The first game I bricked really hard with. First game was all monsters, and the second game was all back row. And you
mm,
can clearly see on my deck, it's pretty even.
yeah,
I have had horrible luck throughout this tournament.
yeah, and like that's Yu-Gi-Oh, right? And it's always sad when it happens that way. But
Yeah, but
I mean,
the game I have is I think is pretty good.
yeah, so let's dive into it then. So we've got a game against King of Fighters 1996, as Janjo just elucidated me on.
If you're watching this and it's wrong, please let us know.
Yeah, it could be another KOF, uh, but KOF 1996 we've had on the channel a bunch. Always fun to feature them, and so this should be a pretty fun one. Losing the die roll with the counter trap deck must really hurt.
Yeah, but you just got to play on.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see, I got decent hand.
Yeah, no, this is very nice. I mean, Mask of Darkness plus Mirror Force opener
I
is
don't
like,
know if I've ever resolved Mirror Force in this entire tourney.
that's unfortunate.
I guess we'll see if I use it here, but I feel like I can't recall a time when I've actually used it.
Yeah, it's very much a card where it's like, heavy exists. So,
Yeah.
if
So like going second, I can't necessarily start the tempo of the game, so I kind of have to like, all right, they're playing defensively. I don't have any aggro options, so it's like, oh, I might as well, if I'm on the defensive, I should just keep playing defensively.
hmm, I think that's
No
smart.
reason to, yeah, I have no reason or any, what's the word? Basically,
Uh,
yeah, I have no reason to like play aggro.
yeah, and you don't even know if you can get over their set monster.
All
So,
right.
uh,
I mean,
yeah,
sometimes I don't mind attacking just to get the information of what it is, but
yeah,
I'd
but
rather them not get the information what I have either.
yeah, and I think that makes sense. And uh, Witch of the Black Forest plus Trap Hole is a great setup. Like 1200 is a surprisingly high defense stat in this format, given how
Yeah.
weak some monsters are. So
Defense is pretty big in this format because like it can be anything from Sangang, which kind of low defense, to Witch, to Giant Soldier Stone, or even Mass Sorcerer. Like there's so much defense options. You
yeah,
can never tell what it is. Like it could be a Man Eater Bug. I don't know who's main decking Man Eater Bug.
yeah, probably some people. I mean, Man-Eater Bug's a decent card, even though it's kind of fallen out of favor in the main deck in this format. So
See,
yeah,
so he sent another card. I don't really have any other. I mean, I could Cannon Soldier
Yeah,
the Witch and then get Thunder Dragon and then thin my deck out by 2 more cards.
yeah, but might be going a bit aggro. So I think
Yeah.
it's probably best that you didn't, let them
Yeah, like
try and remove it.
I have no reason to do anything, so I'm just not gonna do anything. Like I'll
Yeah,
just get my cards up.
it
If
looks
they
like
want to
they're
play
thinking the
defensively,
same
go
thing.
ahead.
Yeah,
Yeah, like they're not putting pressure on me, so
yeah,
I
it's a
will
defense
respond.
off.
Oh
Oh,
yeah, and then like yeah. Dueling Book being Dueling Book.
yeah, the classic.
Critters are great because I can just summon them without worry.
Yeah, or just set them without worry because like you're just keeping on the defensive, which I think is smart.
Yeah. If they Raigeki my field, like I get 2 searches. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, and that's part of what makes Raigeki and Dark Hole interesting in this format is that they're not quite as clear cut as they were in Yuki Kaiba.
When I was working on my Exodia deck, I did mess with one Horn of Heaven
Just
because
to
you can reactively negate like any summon of theirs on and tribute one of your searchers for a piece of Exodia.
which is extremely funny if you manage to pull it off.
Yeah, I have a rather interesting Exodia build I'd like to try at some point.
Yeah, Janjodia.
Yeah, Janjodia.
Man, this is sad. You're not drawing any counter traps.
Yeah, but it's not like I need to counter anything really. Like I'm not
Yeah,
like what do I need to counter? Like I can crash, you know,
yeah,
with
man.
chain links. I know they'll search first, and like okay, I'm searching with Sangan. I feel like my sometimes I like to search like you do like the loop between Sangan, which sometimes Sangan I if it's not another searcher, I do like to get Giant Soldier just for a defensive option
Hmm.
because the only thing that can attack over that normally is Jirai or Muka Muka, which Muka Muka is terrifying.
Yeah, no, especially when
every
they've
time,
got six hit cards in hand. That's
Mhm.
oh.
every time you summon, I just want to trap hole it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's
Like,
smart to trap hole it if you can, but uh,
I've gained a lot of respect for it, even if it is kind of situational.
yeah, it's a very interesting card. I'm actually going to release a video featuring it a bit more soon. But I think it's one of the it's kind of like Cannon Soldier where you start the format and you're like, is this card really that good? And then you play a couple games with it and you're like, oh yeah, it's really good.
I always kind of knew Can Soldier was good, but it's like the application of it is interesting, like what you can do with it.
Yeah.
Swords is okay. It's like they reveal my 2 face down monsters. It's kind of funny. It's like, ha, take that. No flip
Yeah.
effects.
And
Like,
it's
so
like,
what? They're witches. What are you gonna do?
yeah. And like, I mean, there's no reason really for you to care about this, right? Because I mean, you've got heavy in hand if you want to deal with it, but you're both playing
Yeah,
defensively, so it's like, oh,
yeah. I mean, I could heavy Raigeki, get someone like Mass Sorcerer, which I
yeah,
guess is an option.
it's interesting.
I'm,
I
I,
I think there is some debate to doing that, and also just like keeping the game state as is.
I guess that's why I'm doing. I'm kind of like I don't remember what I'm doing at all. So I'm like, I wonder
Yeah,
if I'm gonna do this.
yeah, it makes it
Overthinking.
fun. They're on
Magic.
Magic Jammer as well, yo.
Yeah,
Well,
that
that's
was
kind
like,
of
all
unfortunate,
right.
but
Yeah, but that's one less card. And again,
yeah,
it's not like the game state's really any different. I mean, I prefer to have resolved the heavy storm.
yeah. But I mean, you've got Raigeki in hand, and honestly, it's
Yeah,
probably better that they Magic Jammer the heavy than the Raigeki. So
yeah. Like in that case, like I don't have to use Raigeki, so I can just keep doing what I was doing before. Just
yeah, just chilling.
3 monsters though, and that's definitely tempting.
Yeah,
And I also withdraw all 3 of their cards and definitely playing defensively. It's like I don't think they're gonna heavy storm, so I'm just
yeah.
gonna set
I mean,
something.
they'd have to get rid of their swords, and that would be kind of rough for them.
Yeah, and to get back Magic Jammer.
Oh, that's pretty rough.
Yeah, I'm like, crap. That's that's not gonna be good for a Raigeki.
Yeah.
That was an interesting play, like what they're doing.
Yeah, like I guess they could flip up the Thunder Dragon to like test a trap hole is maybe, but I'm not quite sure why. Well, I mean, I guess they're getting aggressive here, so
Yeah, I guess they figured like, well, they gotta start. I mean, they have a lot of cards.
Yeah. So
I mean, they don't know what I'm playing really.
yeah, because you've
Haven't
just
revealed
revealed
anything
basically,
standard.
yeah,
Mm,
every deck plays these.
yeah. Well, some decks don't play Sangan.
Oh yeah, that's true. Like some beatdown decks don't, but uh, ooh, that's a good spell as well.
Drew Monster Reborn. So yeah, gonna thin my deck out by 2. No problem with that. If I need
Yeah,
to discard them for hand costs, I discard them for hand costs. I love Thunder Dragon.
yeah,
Very underrated. I briefly consider attacking a Poly in the side.
that would be fun. I have seen that tech before. I think in a deck that Koff shared with me, I saw that, and it was very, very cool tech option. But just bringing out such a big
Yeah.
beater is just crazy.
Like, okay, they're gonna get Thunder Dragons, so I discard my Thunder Dragons. And if I set Giant Soldier, they can't attack over it.
Yeah, and you've got Mirror Force too if you need it. So
Yeah.
they've got such a tempting Raigeki board, but
I know they got Magic Jammer though.
yeah, so you can't activate it.
I'm gonna. I like to just test out trap holes because if they let Lodgin out and they trap hole, I don't care.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. And you've got another Lodgin in hand, so like you really don't care.
Yeah. And even when I do side and dry, I usually tend to go for Lodgin first and foremost because I don't want to accidentally spend half my life points.
Yeah, Dry is very good in the late game, but less good at the start. First counter trap of the game.
Yes. So
That's-
this is where the strategy is really nice you when you kind of draw into these, you're like, okay, I can wait till the next turn, next 2 turns for whenever,
Hmm.
and then start putting on because then I'll be comfortable to have negates. Now I can't negate their Magic Jammer with a Magic Jammer,
Yeah, so it's
but
like,
I
might as
can
well
stop
save it.
Raigekis. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I can set it and not have to worry about Heavy Storm, so I can more safe to set more.
Yeah.
Depending
But
if I have other stuff to like back it up with.
yeah, but you don't really care about this here. So I guess the only spell you really care about right now is like Raigeki. And that's like if they have it, they have it kind of.
Yeah, I'd rather like put pressure with something else, and then
Yeah.
have them negate that.
I think that makes sense.
If they're just saying like there's another piece of the combo.
Yeah, that's a very good draw here. Can
Typically,
seven.
if they chain, yeah, like typically if they want to chain something like Waboku, it's for a reason.
Hmm.
So I don't usually mind negating stuff like that. Faith is fun.
Yeah. Well, also the good thing about Seven Tools is that you can Seven Tools the Magic Jammer if you do go for the Raigeki push later on.
Yeah, I can negate pretty much anything at this point.
Yeah. Ooh, Change of Heart. Oh man, this is good.
So I know they're gonna chain that. So they have to discard for cost, and
Mhm.
then I'm just like, all right, I I know you have that, so I can stop it.
Oh, very nice. I was worried if they had another counter trap because I saw that Solemn.
Hmm.
Maybe
Yeah,
maybe they could have been on like a heavy counter trap strategy as well. But
and
and
that
that
is patient. Yeah, patiently awaiting to use Raigeki was the key move in this game.
yeah, no, that came in real clutch.
And then there's no reason to move Soldier to attack,
Yeah, I mean you
Ace
don't
Mirror
want to
Force or whatever.
exactly, and it's likely that they might have one because they've drawn so much of their deck by this
Yeah,
point.
or they can attack over it next turn if they should.
Yeah,
So, whereas I'm like, I'm on the offensive right now. I'm not gonna let them take control
yeah, I think that
of
makes sense. And also,
the tempo.
if they do like Raigeki this board away, you do have like Mirror Force to.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm not sure whether you want to use it on a mass sorcerer or not, but like the option is there.
Yeah, I usually don't mind with Mass Sorcerer. Like if they draw cards, they draw cards.
Yeah,
I mean, a lot of
I'm
times I find they don't use everything they have anyway.
yeah, I'm much more scared of mass sorcerer I think than I should be, but
I'm more scared of like a white magical hat or stuff that affects my own cards than that their cards, especially with a deck like this, where I'd rather have my cards to stop whatever they're doing. So if they get cards and I can negate it, that's fine.
yeah, that makes sense with this sort of deck.
Like, all right, what are you gonna? I mean, yeah, you can't kill me, but
Yeah, they can. I mean, I guess they get in some damage here, but
So I'm gonna trap hole. I don't want to like have them do too much shenanigans.
yeah,
So I'm gonna ask
especially
for prio and call it a day.
if they do have like if you have to solemn later on in the game, that could be really bad if that sticks around. But
Yeah, that shows the I respect Cannon Soldier. That's what
yeah,
that shows.
very good card in the format. So
Yes, it can. I don't think I've like won a game with it, but there's times where I thought about, okay, if I had Cannon Soldier, I might be able to get to that point
yeah,
or help push towards that direction.
I've both won and lost a fair amount of games to Cannon Soldier. So like it, I have massive respect for it.
I feel like they named it after like the TCG. It might be called Cannon format
Yeah,
instead of
it is such a
Critter.
determinative card.
Sangan is the Japanese word for three eyes.
Oh yeah, yeah. I know that San is three, so that makes sense.
It's a weird piece of trivia.
Yeah, and they're down a fair amount of good cards here, so I feel like you've got
Yeah.
a pretty good shot. Like two Waboku's gone, so that's very nice
I-
for.
This is what I mean when like Jiraigumo is really good because a lot of times if you can just out aggro them, it can end the game quickly.
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
all right, what are they summoning?
I guess
like,
yeah,
okay.
Login, but yeah, no, this is
No one's running Skull anymore.
yeah, or at least most.
I
teams are.
did briefly consider running a single copy or maybe citing in a single copy of Barrel Dragon to discard for Magic Jammer to revive it later.
That is very funny. Barrel Dragon's
That's
one
how
of
much.
those cards where it's like such an iconic anime card, and like the effect isn't half bad, but it's like the amount you have
And
to
you
put
can
into it.
but you can use it to like get two searches. You can potentially give. I'll put a lot of pressure. It's like summon Skull. If you summon Skull in Yugi Kaiba format and it gets trap hold, fissure, change of heart, tribute, or whatever, like that's terrible.
Mm,
But if you can get a card like Barrel Dragon out, it's kind of the same thing.
mm.
Where if you can get its advantage off, then you can potentially get rid of a lot of cards. I'm not
Yeah,
saying it's great, but
it's better
I
than it
like
might
it.
otherwise be. Yeah,
Yeah, it's better than like Sanga of the Thunder.
that's true. Yeah, having a battle phase only effect on Sangha is really unfortunate.
With a monster that you probably aren't going to attack over anyway.
Yeah. Oh, this is
So yeah,
super sick here.
yeah, they're
This.
gonna Magic Jammer. I'm like, bitch, you ain't. They're gonna Solemn.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's like yeah,
That's
well,
wild.
but at the same time, it's like, what advantage do they really have aside from just protecting their life points?
Also, honestly, you've got Cannon Soldier in hand. Like, you could start burning them
Yeah,
potentially. I mean, they haven't used up trap holes, so they could have a trap hole set, which would be unfortunate. But you've
like
got
imagine if I
Reborn.
Monster Reborned a Barrel Dragon and just killed
Oh,
Giant
that would be
Soldier.
nuts. That would have been
That's
nuts.
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I love Barrel Dragon,
Oh,
but I'm like, all right, no reason to leave them in attack mode.
yeah, exactly.
So Dark Hole's
Ooh.
nice. I could just clear the field and attack.
Yeah, and you get another monster with Sangan. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's what I'm gonna do. They're gonna pay half their life points.
Well,
Okay, I'm
yeah.
gonna Magic. Okay, except you can't Magic Jam or Solemn.
Oh, I was real hyped for a second because I was like, oh damn.
Yeah, I kind of. That's a problem when playing these decks. It's like negate. Wait, wrong negate.
Yeah.
Crap.
I mean, you can win here, I think. It depends on what their last back row is, but if you bring out Cannon Soldier and are able to tribute your board and Monster Reborn another monster, then that's
Which I
just
do. Yeah.
yeah. So looks like they're gonna ooh. That would have been interesting to Magic Jammer, but I see why you didn't, because like, it gets them two cards, but like you want to deal with the cards they draw, not necessarily the draw
Yeah.
spell itself.
I mean, like once in a blue moon, I'll negate pod agreed, but yeah, I mean, depending on like what they have, I'd rather have something like Seven Tools where if they do try and trap hole Cannon Soldier, I can negate it.
Yeah, and now you're set up for that too. Like,
Again, I'm not in any threat, so it's like I don't need to like just summon Cannon Soldier and then
I mean, you
worry
could
about
win
that.
from here though, right? Like, just guaranteed, right? Because you've got the 7 tools.
Yeah,
So, yeah. But I think
I
this
don't
is
remember.
fine too because you can just out at. Oh yeah, you can just reborn their cannon soldier.
Yeah, because if I summon Lodge in, they might not like worry about it.
Yeah. So yeah, this is the safer play, I think. But that was good.
Yeah, that might have been my most like big brain duel. I don't think game two went very well.
Well, I mean, we'll find out.
Yeah,
But yeah, that first game was great. Like, cannon soldier, just format superstar. You know.
yeah. It can. It's like the only thing aside from Jiraiya that's like goes around uh vendors.
Yeah. And like,
Also, I realize that the more I play this, I'm like I love the card, but I'm like I never want to play Dark Elf.
yeah, Dark Elf is I've had the same experience with Dark Elf. Like, it's so sad when you have to attack into a defender with it, and it's like,
Hmm.
well, and then at the end of the game too, if you have less than 1,000 life points, it's just, what do you do with it? It's just a wall in attack mode.
It's kind of the same thing with Seven Tools. So if you have like low life points,
Yeah, but I think Seven
it's
Tools is
dead.
like at least a bit more flexible. Like, it gets you some
I'm
value most
I'm not
cases.
about a I'm not about a Tekken Diane Keto.
Yeah.
Unless it was Duel Monsters 1 Diane Keto, or increase your life points by 5,000.
That would be not. That actually might be worth playing in the format. That would make the games miserable, but
Well, if we're playing with like DM1 video game cards, Tremendous Fire would also deal 5,000 life points.
oh, okay. So it would be a necessary inclusion for the tremendous fire meta
Yeah,
threat. Yeah,
yeah.
that really is a
Activate
tremendous fire.
activate 2 Tremendous Fires per game.
No.
So yeah, they're playing aggressively, which is super fun. But
You do
I
get
can't
Thunder
thin my deck
Dragon.
out. Yeah, I think only one game I've ever did where I drew into 2 Thunder Dragons.
Yeah.
And again, just thinning my deck out by 2 is like it's basically just Upstart Goblin.
Yeah, no, it's nuts. I think it's definitely underrated in the format.
Yeah, I love it just from this alone. Now I can see depending on what your deck is and having room for certain cards.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah, so I'm getting my Thunder Dragons, and which by the way, playing this using Thunder Dragons all the time, and then jumping into a Chaos Return format duel
uh,
screwed me up mentally because I resolved a Gravekeeper Spy and I special summoned 2 spies because I'm just like 2 from deck.
yeah. It's just
And they're
Thunder
like,
Dragon,
wait a
but
minute.
dark and flip, you know?
Yeah, and they were like, wait a minute. I'm like, oh crap, it's
Yeah.
same Thunder Dragon. Can
Yeah.
you imagine that? And
That would be nuts.
that was a
That,
card.
that would that would be kind of broken for stall decks. Just get out 2 big defenders, but
I did win that duel though,
okay,
against Burn.
that's good.
So that
Oh,
was fun.
wait, you were on Burn or against Burn?
I was against Burn. I was playing like
Mm.
I was playing Chaos Return.
Okay, so
But anyway, so yeah, they're gonna match hammer my Change of Heart, which I think I was going to take the Lodge in and probably attack then tribute.
yeah, I think that makes sense. Would you have
But
summoned a Cannon Soldier and tributed, or like tribute set a Thunder Dragon?
probably Thunder Dragon.
Yeah,
I
I
would
think that makes
I would
sense.
think.
Yeah.
Change of Heart's a card I'm kind of mixed on.
Oh, I
Like it's
love
nice
Change of Heart.
sometimes, but I feel like other times I kind of wish like would it be better if it was a fissure or
Uh, I
something?
mean, yeah, but I mean, I think the flexibility of Change of Heart in this format is just insane. Like, being able to deal with opponent sets is very good with Change of Heart, especially when the sets include like Magicians of Faith and things. So
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Change of Heart. I think that its power level has risen a lot in this format.
And
Oh,
they're
that's
playing.
always unfortunate.
Yeah, they're going way aggro on me. I'm like, all right, I guess I'll swords.
Yeah, and you've got the Magic Jammer for if they heavy storm, so that's pretty nice. But it looks like they aren't, so that's pretty nice too.
Yeah.
No,
Like, okay.
oh,
Yeah, they are just trap holing everything.
yeah. I mean, I guess it makes sense from their perspective. They want to keep their board presence and stuff, and They don't want you to have monsters that can block their offensive pushes later. But
Yeah, I don't know if it's a case where like they want to stop me before I get like more cards on board, or if they just happen to have drew into these cards and that's how they normally play.
yeah, it
I don't
might
know.
be. I mean, game one, they definitely drew a lot of defenders early, and so you both had things set. But now that the board's clear on your side, they might be trying to just take advantage of that.
Yeah, I got mask. I don't think there's anything useful for it.
Yeah, yeah, no
So,
traps in grave. So yeah, I think that's smart just to save it.
like, I guess I'll let them search something. I'm
Yeah,
already like in such a awful position.
and you've got the trap hole for if they do bring out the Lodgin. And using the trap hole will turn on your mask because you can set the mask and stuff. But uh,
Yeah,
it's kind of a rough spot though, because you don't really have any way to deal with the Lodgin already on field.
yeah. And
Oh,
yeah, Robin Goblin. This surprised me.
oh yeah. This is. I mean,
I'm
maybe
like,
because
don't
they
hit heavy,
saw.
don't hit heavy, don't hit heavy.
Okay, that's not a bad loss there. At least
Okay,
it's
don't hit heavy, don't hit
yeah.
heavy.
This is fingers crossed. But what does that three mean? Is it gonna be?
They hit heavy.
Oh,
I had the biggest smile on my face.
yeah. I mean,
But then I drew into Jirai, so
yeah, Jiraiya's pretty good, and also like Heavy would have cleared Robin, but you've got so many back rows that like, not the worst thing that you lost it.
yeah. I mean, sometimes I prefer not to heavy my stuff, but it is a format where sometimes you just have to do it.
Yeah, like depending on what they've got. Oh, that
The
20.
last
Yeah.
the last game I did, I think I called most of the calls correctly, which was like the last bit of luck swinging in my favor in this entire tournament.
Yeah, I've never had good luck with Jirai. Like it always is rough for me.
Right, Geki, I'm like, no problem.
Yep,
I'll
you got
stop that.
yeah, and then you got
Change of
the other
heart,
one.
no problem. I'll stop that. I don't need Mask of Darkness right now.
And the Robin's turned off now. No cards in hand. No usefulness for Robin. So
Yeah, I don't care for it. I drew another mask, which I guess I don't. I probably I usually side one of them out. I don't know why I
yeah,
didn't this time. Maybe that's before I decided my very specifics of citing, which is something you probably should do before entering a tournament and making a deck.
yeah, it's generally good, but I mean it's tough sometimes, right? Especially like if you wind up in a matchup that you are not used to, which
Hmm.
Koff seems to be on a very interesting deck. So, uh, it's pretty rough for you. Oh, that might wrap things up though. Actually, I don't know. I mean, they're gonna
Yeah,
probably get Raigeki here, right?
yeah, they keep getting like face and stuff.
Yeah, and so that
Man,
will be. Yeah, and you gotta trap hole that, but that's a smart play on their part.
yeah.
They could have just brought out the cannon soldier, but they knew they had lethal on board anyways from the
But
sand
then they
game.
get, but then they get another faith, so they can just.
Yeah,
And I'm like, you.
it's yeah no they're. I mean that was the it. That like the solemn that they had at the end just sealed the deal because there was no matter what you did they could just solemn it and it's like well
Yeah, I feel like a lot of decks would benefit by running three faiths, just because again, how many power cards are in this format, and that kind of
yeah.
shows like if they can just keep getting like Raigekis or heavies.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah,
the weird thing about Faith is that like at 3 copies it can really brick early on. And you might think like, "Oh, well, why would Faith ever brick because spells are just so good no matter what they are." But like
it
sometimes
can. Yeah,
yeah, it's just if you don't have really good spells to bring back, it's just running 3 can be a bit tough. And you can search them out with Sengen and Witch. So,
yeah. I
yeah.
think it depends. Again, depends on the build.
Yeah.
If you're running like a more tightly knit deck with more three ofs of stuff than like a variety pack.
Yeah.
So I cited in tribute to the Doomed this game.
Yeah, and I think that makes sense given the flip monsters that they run. So,
Yeah. Like I don't know if it's like a flip control deck or what.
yeah, it's a
Like I
very
have it's
interesting looking deck
some
at least.
I think it's hand control.
Yeah,
So
or at least maybe they sided into hand control. Seeing that,
Possibly.
yeah, seeing that you have like magic jammers and stuff that rely on cards in hand, uh, could make some sense to side into it. I think this is a really nice play here. Just the set heavy to bait them into setting more.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't have any need for heavy.
Yeah,
So it's like if they heavy my heavy, we both lose a heavy.
exactly.
Like,
And
okay.
I mean, swords is pretty good to heavy if you want to use it, but honestly, you don't really have a reason to yet.
Yeah. And I drew another which is funny because typically my games goes as I never draw into heavy.
Yeah.
That is like the meme of my tournament.
You know, you either draw 0 or you draw 2. There's no in between. That's what I found
Yeah.
with heavy. That's my experience.
And I'll let them get comfortable and set stuff.
Yeah, might as well.
Again, I don't like there's once again, if there's no reason to try and force tempo change,
Yeah,
you have to go with the motion of the ocean.
exactly. Play it by ear. And they've got another swords.
The
Wow.
amount of times, if I had a nickel for every time someone activated swords against me,
Oh, this is
I
nice.
I could afford a max rarity deck.
Swords
Yeah,
is
I'm
just
like,
too good in this format, but that faith
it,
is
it,
going to be real nice.
hey man, it's at 2 for a reason. Card
Yeah,
destruction is at 2 for reasons. Like you should be playing these cards.
yeah.
So I mean, yeah, I'm just gonna tribute set Thunder Dragon. No problem with that.
And they're just committing more back row too, so this is very nice here.
Yeah, and boom goes the dynamite. Rom
Oh,
Goblin. I think it was a trap hole they had.
yeah, your patience paid off because that Robin Goblin was their most recent set. So like, yeah, this is really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Typically, if I can get 3 cards, I'm happy.
Yeah,
And I'm just gonna just destroy their like half their life points.
yeah, and this is really good for. Did they take that damage? Oh yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The nice thing with Thunder Dragon is like you can tribute set it kind of like a Gyakuten Megami. And yeah, its stats aren't as good, but with 15k defense, a lot of monsters still can't attack over it.
yeah. Like honestly, most things in the format can. Like Lodgins and Gumos and stuff, sure, but like everything else can't. And it's pretty wild to think about that, but
Only beaters can, but this isn't a beater focused format. So yeah, I was trying to push for a game, I accidentally
yeah,
clicked that to feel is like like
yeah,
Wabaku kind of saved them here.
yeah, because they
So
didn't have
I'll
the
send
Wabaku. This was game over.
yeah, so I'll send them to defense. All right, I'll trap all. No reason to keep that on field.
Yeah, and I think you just
Now
win
that's
here.
I can change a heart. I contribute to the doomed.
Yeah, you have.
I have two options,
Yeah, and I think the
or I
change of
could Jirai Gumo.
I think the change of heart was the smart one because if they were playing Karibo, they could have searched it with the Sangan. But
True. Yeah.
uh, but yeah, that was a really sick match. Like I think this deck is pretty cool. I guess it didn't counter much in the last game, but I think the first game
No.
showed how powerful like it can be, just stopping whatever your opponent's trying to do to claw their way back.
Yeah, and it shows from like the side decking how I would improve the deck, which is have more aggro options. Like instead of having just a pure control deck, kind of having it function more as an aggro deck with counter traps,
Mm.
with like more like reactive counter traps and like a Waboku.
Yeah, it's kind of like how the normal beatdown deck plays a bunch of 7 tools, and just to stop their battle traps. But you might as well go one step further with the magic jammers.
Yeah, no need to like put myself in cannon soldier range with Solemn Judgment either.
Yeah,
Like I think this whole game I activated Solemn like once, maybe twice.
yeah. I'm not. I think you didn't even because there's one in the grave, but that was just
I
sort of bait
heavied.
for heavy. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I had it set, not necessarily bait for a heavy, but like if I had to use it, I would have used it.
yeah,
But it's also a card, like I mentioned. Ideally, I don't have to use if I can negate what I need to negate and destroy what I need to destroy.
yeah,
Yeah, so like, and with all my experience playing, again, I did go 2-3. Some of them were bricks, some of them were just due to top luck draws and misplays and whatnot. It's hard to tell, but
Mm.
I would say it's like a rogue deck. I wouldn't call it like tier 2. I mean, maybe more people play it and like test stuff out,
Yeah,
but
I feel like this
it,
could
it, it does have
potentially.
merits.
Yeah, I feel like given the showing that we saw here, and you've played more games with the deck in the tournament, but I feel like it could become tier 2 with a bit of tinkering, like just more people getting eyes on it, more people experimenting with it, and trying to find that balance between like the exact amount of counter traps to use, the exact amount of like aggression to use, things like that. Um,
hmm
but
it's a philosophy a lot of people don't necessarily consider when they just look at the deck at face value.
mm, and maybe with experimentation we can change that.
Maybe we'll get it on format library.
Yeah, someday, in one of the tourneys, we'll top with a.
If people can top with catapult, turtle, OTK, and other weird stuff,
Yeah, I'm sure we
I
can
think
get a
Mass
mass negate.
Negation.
Yeah,
Yeah, Mass Negate has they have a chance one of these days.
yeah. But I'm definitely gonna try out the deck on the channel at some point because I think this is really sick.
Do it.
Yeah, but
All right,
I.
well, thank you for having me on the channel. It was
Yeah,
fun.
thank you for joining me and providing me with this deck list and the replay, and it was really awesome to commentate with you.
Yeah, it's nice to have the duel on a channel, and also shout out to King of Fighters 1996. He put up a good fight, as
Yeah,
he typically does.
yeah, and Koff is awesome in this format, so it's always a pleasure to have them on. But if people want to check out the Janjo Zone, I'll provide a link to it in the description below. So definitely check him out. He's got a lot of great videos on these sorts of retro formats. And yeah, let us know if you want us to co-commentate any more duels at some later point. I mean, I'd always be happy to.
Yeah, same.
But that'll be it for this video. Until next time, I've been Ben from YGO from Zero.
And I've been Janjo
And we're
on
signing
YGO
off.
here. Peace.